Nirantari, I really appreciate her, especially because of one reason. Nirantari and Loshani, who are siblings, both of them joined with this program only very late. In fact, just less than a week ago. When all other kids have been working almost for the past 4 months for this paper, I was really wonderstruck by Nirantari and Loshani's commitment, because both of them did their level best to achieve what everybody else was doing their best to achieve in 3 to 4 months of research and all these things. Nirantari is studying secondary 1 at Riverside Secondary School. She's a very diligent worker who has won many academic awards and a topper in her school performances. She is also a Bharatanatyam dancer, and she's learning Carnatic music. Nirantari also loves music apart from Carnatic music. She loves music in all forms. She has presented many stage dance performances and took part in many competitions. She really is excellent in art and has participated in many art competitions. Maybe in the long run, she might give a real run for Smrita Suresh in her interest in art. And I'm very proud to see that at a very short notice, Nirantari has picked up the research skill and the presentation skills. And today she is here to present a paper on how secondary school students can cope with the stress. She's here not just to record their stress, but she's here to say how secondary school students can cope with the stress. So let's welcome Nirantari. Nirantari, come.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Wait, Nirantari. I'm not presenting a paper, I'm spotlighted. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Nirantari, studying Secondary 1 at Riverside Secondary School. Today, I would like to present my paper on how secondary school students can cope with stress. This is my first webinar session, and I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr.Raji Sreenivasan, my mentor from Masters Academy of Speech and Training Singapore and ACE International Limited Singapore, as well as to my parents for extending this opportunity to me to present my findings on my choice of topic. I feel that this event on empowering critical thinking and presentation skills is helpful for students like me. This will be important as this is my first step in my secondary school learning journey. Next slide, please. Before the question what causes stress, let us look into what is stress. Stress is an issue that everyone has faced at least at one point of time. Stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension, and it is your body's reaction to a challenge or demand. Any type of challenge, such as a performance at work, at school, a significant life change, or a traumatic event can be stressful. Stress can affect your health mentally and physically. It is important to pay attention to how you deal with minor and major stresses so you know when to seek help. Everyone is affected by stress, but from a long time till now, in my opinion, students are the most common victims of stress. This can be because of many factors, such as family expectations on studies, poor sleep schedule, heavy workload, homework, deadlines, financial expenses, peer pressure in the form of friends, lack of organization and time management, etc. Even new classes, new teachers, and new routines can all be stressful for students. But something that contributes to stress a lot when the students progress through school and start taking more advanced classes, the increased difficulty can also cause stress for students. The objective of this paper is to focus on how secondary school students cope with stress in Singapore. Next slide. What are the effects of stress on students? In Singapore, the level of stress experienced by the secondary school students is very high. It affects students' performance in many ways, such as worsening their grades, taking away their ability to focus during studying, and it also causes students to drop out of school or classes. But even before entering into secondary school, they already experience the trauma of a school leaving public examination when they are barely 12. This trauma does not end there. As a result of their PSLE results, they go to either elitist, selective SAP, or neighborhood schools, creating further stress to their self-esteem and identity. The tongue-in-the-cheek attitude demonstrated by many parents who have aced in the exams builds further stress for the not-so-lucky enrolled students. They experience stress at home, worrying parents, and under economically challenging circumstances, stress seems to be a permanent factor that affects them in all walks of life. Next slide, please. How can students cope with stress? Students are encouraged to use many ways to cope with stress. They can exercise regularly, try to get enough sleep, listen to music, eat healthily, have a nice chat and laughter with friends, and talk to someone who's empathetic. So now let me talk this in detail. One of the healthiest ways students can blow off steam is getting exercise. Students can work exercise into their schedules by doing yoga, meditation, running, etc. at possible times. For some students, even parental nagging is needed to do any of these activities. But still, isn't it worth trying for many of them? Next slide, please. For secondary school students, sleep has become a luxury, leading to high stress levels among them unless they learn to prioritize their daily study and work routine and have clear time management techniques. For example, if they had been distracted by social media such as Instagram, Facebook, or even WhatsApp text for short spans of time in between their work each day, this could take away a big chunk of their productive time, which in turn would naturally lead to more pressure when it comes to handling the daily schoolwork or homework. All these will eat into the sleeping hours and it affects the sleeping pattern as well. So, proper planning of time could actually put an end to this issue. Next slide, please. The most preferred method students can use to relieve stress is listening to music. This can help students to relieve stress and either calm themselves down or stimulate their mind. Another type of stress buster that students use is to eat a healthy diet. We may not realize it, but our diet can either boost our brain power or sap us of mental energy. A healthy diet can function as both a stress management technique and a study aid. Improving our diet can keep us from experiencing diet-related mood swings, lightheadedness, and more. Next slide, please. Lastly, an idea that some students may consider to relieve stress is to talk to someone who demonstrates not only sympathy but also empathy. Talking to someone is like venting out the feelings that you had been bottling up due to causes of stress. From my experience, when I talk to my close friends or my family members, I feel satisfied in the end as I always have a comforting feeling that there is someone who cares about you and wants your well-being, eventually giving a good result in the end. There are many things students do to relieve and cope stress, and what I have shared here are some of the most commonly used ones that are used all around the globe. Next slide, please. But technology has now taken a big part in everyone's life. Thus, the most sought after way that students use to cope with stress is to spend their time on entertainment and recreation on gadgets, playstations, and games like Among Us, as we all know that there are even e-books in our phones where we can borrow books and return them all in just a matter of click. Dependence upon gadgets and electronic media could warp students' ability to socialize with real people. Hence, to cope with stress, it is better if they choose real people instead of virtual people and real activities instead of virtual activities. Summing up, next slide please. Next slide please. Summing up, this presentation, while attempting to understand the stress level experienced by the secondary school students, has also provided suggestions to cope with this stress level. As this presenter and a secondary school student who thinks from within the system and not a bystander looking at the issue from outside the system, the methods suggested to cope with stress here are more practical and reliable. Thank you for listening to me.
Oh, that was a great job, Niranthari. You know, can we all have a full round of applause for Niranthari? I already told you the reason. He has done something which all of us have taken a few months, and then Niranthari has taken it less than a week, and then she has achieved whatever she wanted to achieve. Can we give her a round of applause?
Clap, 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 clap.
Okay. Thank you, Niranthari.